What surprises might await you when flying with Eurowings, Germany's largest low-cost carrier? My flight from Zurich to Germany's unofficial 17th state, Mallorca, turned out a bit different than expected. So here's what flying Eurowings is really like. Disclaimer, this video is based on my personal experience during a single flight. As always, opinions are subjective and I encourage you to form your own perspective. Today's journey begins in a place where the sun never shines, the forest valleys around Zurich. From here, we take the train to Zurich Airport, a ride that takes a couple of minutes and gives me the opportunity to present to you the airline we're flying with today. Eurowings, now wholly owned by the German airline Lufthansa, is Germany's largest low-cost carrier and, among others, maintains bases in the German-speaking countries of Germany and Austria, as well as in the Eastern European country of Czechia.
What do you mean Eastern Europe? We are Central Europe, not Eastern. Is this how an Eastern European looks? No, I don't think so.
Nowadays, they connect over 20 million passengers per year around the continent, and until about 4 years ago they also operated intercontinental flights to places like North America and Southeast Asia. I even flew on Eurowings from Munich down to Bangkok a couple of years ago. However, eventually the long-haul business was handed over to Eurowings Discover, now called Discover Airlines. Thanks to EU regulations, Eurowings can register its operations in countries like Germany, Malta or other member states, allowing them to fly across various regions seamlessly. Interestingly, their largest base outside Central Europe is in Mallorca, the destination of today's flight and a favorite getaway for millions of European travelers. And when I say European travelers, I actually mean mostly Germans. Welcome to Zurich Airport. If you've watched my last video on GP Aviation, also known as the Flying Balkan Oldtimer, this place might already feel familiar. Zurich Airport is basically an IKEA and consists of a labyrinth of routes and shopping opportunities before you even reach the check-in area. The good news is, for most European flights you can skip the check-in counter entirely if you're traveling without luggage. With your online boarding pass you can head straight to the security area. In fact, some airlines, including Eurowings, actively discourage check-in at the counter. If you're flying on a basic fare and still decide to check in at the desk, be prepared to pay a €15 fee for the service. While opinions on this tactic may vary, it's worth noting that this approach seems to be a European phenomenon. Compared to other low-cost carriers like Wizz Air or Ryanair, €15 per person is actually on the more reasonable side. Despite the airport being quite busy today, I breezed through security in under 10 minutes and found myself in the Airside Center, a shopping hub connecting the various terminals. This is also where the ZRH Club Lounge is located, a pay-to-enter lounge designed for economy class travelers. However, at 49 Swiss francs, about 55 USD, for a small snack and a drink, it's a bit steep for my taste. Instead, I head to the Aspire Lounge, which I can access for free with my priority pass. Before my flight, I spent some time watching Mayday Air Disaster, a habit for which my friends call me Psycho. Just kidding, I don't have any friends. As boarding time approaches, it's time to make the trek through the Airside Center all the way to A83, the furthest, most inconvenient gate this airport could assign me. Let's go. Oh yeah, and by the way, before those guys come again telling me I should buy a private jet if I don't like it, I know we're flying on a low-cost carrier shit face. I say it every time I fly budget, my expectations aren't too high like some other YouTubers who complain non-stop. If I arrive safe and unscammed, I'm happy. However, this flight was still not at all what I was expecting. I board using my e-ticket on my phone and it honestly makes me wonder, how do they know who I am? How do they know I am who I claim to be? I didn't have to show any identification at any point. Not for booking, not for online check-in, not to get through the departure area and not to board a plane. Technically, I could be holding a ticket for 84-year-old Miss Emma Great and no one would know. Or am I missing something here? Anyway, welcome aboard this 8-year-old Airbus A320-200 registered in Malta since February 2023. There's nothing remarkable about it, just standard all economy free configuration as it's typical for European flights. What's a bit more interesting are some of the passengers, but we'll get to that later. The cabin's condition is decent and the legroom at 71 cm, that's 28 inches, is smaller than what most airlines offer, though exactly what you'd expect from a budget carrier. However, with a one-way ticket price of over $300 for a 1 hour and 50-minute flight, this isn't exactly cheap, especially when you consider that some airlines in Europe offer flights for less than 10% of that price. To be fair, part of the cost can be attributed to Zurich Airport, where operating costs for airlines are notoriously high. That's likely why most budget airlines like Ryanair, Wizz Air, Transavia and others avoid flying here in the first place. So, thank you Eurowings for not forgetting the Swiss. As I board a plane, it's hard to miss that a significant percentage of passengers are already under the influence. In fact, a few didn't even make it to the gate, so were delayed while their bags are tracked down and unloaded.
Everybody's now on board, but we're missing 5 passengers, so we are trying to locate their luggage to offload them from the cargo bay.
Alcohol that you have brought on board yourself. Thank you.
This leads to some drunk passengers getting creative with their time. Even once you're taxiing, these guys are staggering around the cabin, ignoring crew instructions like it's a suggestion box.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, do keep your silver fastened.
Now, let me be clear. I'm not here to be a buzzkill. I'm young too. Just because I don't have friends doesn't mean I begrudge people their fun. Let them drink themselves until their heads fall off and enjoy the few days off they've got, because Molle ist nur einmal im Jahr. No problem with that. But the real heroes here are the crew. On this fine Friday morning, they're tirelessly trying to get everyone seated, maintain order and enforce safety regulations, all while being heckled and booed for their efforts. They handle it professionally, calm, collected and determined to restore safety and peace on board. Thanks to them, we are able to push back almost on time and get this adventure started. Not gonna lie, it was a bit surprising to witness scenes like that on a Eurowings flight. Honestly, I expected this kind of chaos more when I flew Ryanair from Bavaria to Mallorca on a Friday afternoon, which was completely bananas. The crew on that flight was visibly stressed out, even threatened to turn the plane around at one point. To be fair though, the passengers on that Ryanair flight were on another level, doing beer bongs, blasting German pop hits out of the boombox during takeoff and just generally treating the plane like a party bus in the sky. Since it is less than 20 kilometers from Zurich Airport to the German border, a lot of Germans fly from Zurich. But I'm not going to blame it all on the Germans. I know we Swiss aren't exactly famous for loving our German neighbors, but honestly I don't care where you're from, and as cheesy as it sounds, it's about whether you're a decent person. And let's face it, a good chunk of the misbehaving passengers are rednecks from Swiss cantons that aren't Zurich, because let's be real, Zurich is the best. And no, it's absolutely not true that we're arrogant pricks. At all. Anyway, our Eurowings flight to Palma de Mallorca prepares for takeoff and departs from runway 28 on this slightly behind schedule. To be fair, takeoff was surprisingly civilized. No one stood up or did anything stupid. In what felt like the blink of an eye, we left cloudy Switzerland behind and set course in a southwest direction. There were some light turbulences which unsettled a few stomachs and prompted the crew to remind everyone, once again, that no outside alcohol is allowed on board. Still, it's no wonder people smuggle their own booze. Buying from duty-free is far cheaper than the prices in Eurowings Wings Bistro, even though the onboard menu isn't outrageously priced either. Being a budget carrier, Eurowings doesn't include amenities like food, drinks or even water in their basic fare. But honestly, this is now the standard for most European airlines, even for so-called full-service carriers. From that perspective, whether I fly Eurowings, Lufthansa or Swiss on short-haul European routes doesn't make much difference. They all offer the same in their basic packages. The Lufthansa group has clearly noticed this trend, which is why they're massively expanded their low-cost network in recent years, often at the expense of their main carriers like Swiss, Austrian Airlines and Lufthansa itself. With Eurowings, they can pay their crew significantly less while offering essentially the same service, a practice that has drawn criticism from unions and politicians in Germany. As a passenger, it's not really my place to judge the ethics of this strategy, but let's be honest, if two airlines from the same group offer the same flight and one charges twice as much for the identical service, of course I will go with the cheaper one. That said, if any pilots or cabin crews from the Lufthansa group are watching, I'd love to hear your perspective on this. The skies overcast all the way across the Mediterranean, and things on board have calmed down. For now, until the guy in front of me spills his bottle all over his seat and then the empty bottle rolls in front of my feet. That's when the crew finally loses their patience, confiscating alcohol like seasoned bouncers. Honestly, I'm just grateful the seat next to me is empty, and I try to catch some sleep, and to my surprise the seat reclines, a rare luxury on many European budget airlines. Adjustable headrest would have been nice too, but yeah, let's not push it. The cabin could use a bit of a cleanup, but I'm trying not to get picky, even though this budget flight wasn't exactly cheap. Still, I won't dwell on the negatives. And the landing lifts my mood as we touch down in Mallorca, one of Eurowings' hubs and a true holiday hotspot. Now, after this video you might not have the best impression of the island, but actually all the drinking and cheesy German pop music is mainly around Palma de Mallorca and the nearby El Arenal. Beyond that, the island offers stunning tranquil spots and breathtaking nature, and it's perfect for couples or family vacations. Mallorca is more than just its party reputation, it's a gem waiting to be explored. So, how was Eurowings? Honestly, it was okay. The flight itself was nothing special, just the usual European budget airline experience, but it got me to Mallorca in one piece, and that's what counts. Also, the crew deserves a medal for staying calm and handling the chaos. The seat was comfortable enough, bonus points for being able to recline, but the plane could have been a bit cleaner. For the price though, I did expect a little more because that wasn't exactly budget friendly. So, would I fly with Eurowings again? Yeah, probably, but only if it's the best option at the time. It wasn't bad, but I wouldn't go out of my way to book them again unless the price makes sense. The same goes for one of Eurowings' largest competitors, Ryanair. Click here to watch that video now. Thank you for flying with Johnny G today, and see you next week.